video services.
Court come to order. All rise.
Thank you. Have a seat.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 2089, Brooks versus Manley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Brooks, you are a realtor.
Yes.
And you also decided to go into the business of buying houses, fixing them up, and flipping them.
That's correct, Your Honor.
When did you decide to do that?
I started my company in 2017.
Was that just a real estate company, or was that the company that bought houses and renovated them and sold them? Which one?
That was my company that I started for flipping houses.
Do you have a partner in that business?
No, it's just myself.
From 2017 until now, how many houses have you sold and flipped?
This would have been my third one.
The house that we're talking about now?
Yes.
And when did you purchase that house?
I purchased it in March of 2020.
How much did you pay for it?
$200,000.
This is what the case is about. For that house, just that house, you commissioned Mr. Maney?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
And you're a videographer?
Yes, Your Honor, photographer and videographer.
To video for the purposes of advertising the project from start to finish, what it looked like when you purchased it, and sort of ongoing throughout the process, taking video of what you did to change cosmetically the inside and or the outside of the house. And you had an agreed price with him, which you paid. How much was that?
$1,919.
And it is your claim that since Mr. Maney did not finish the project and did not take the end product of what the house looked like when it was finished, you acknowledge he did come at other times and took video of what the house looked like at the beginning and the middle. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
But didn't do the video of the end, that you want your entire $1,919 back?
Yes, Your Honor.
Whatever he says. Mr. Maney says that you were difficult, that it was impossible, the job was supposed to take 4 months, it took almost a year, he didn't sign on for that, which may be. But more important, is there a video? Do you have a video of what he took? Do you have a video of what you gave her?
I have in my Google Drive a ton of video of what I've taken, but at the end, I have evidence showing we had scheduled for me to come in and do that final video. Everything was on point. Then she tells me here,
no,
it's going to be completed.
Just a second.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to let you have an opportunity.
Okay, sorry, Your Honor.
To tell me what your defense is to this case, if you need one. I just want to see some video of what you took. Doesn't anybody have that here? I mean, if 3/4 of the project was completed with video, and the only thing, according to you, that he didn't do was the end, that's what you just told me, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so did he give you the video that was done?
I got nothing, Your Honor.
Your Honor, she has had access to the Google Drive with all of the video components in there. I cannot complete the final edits to put everything together until she completed things on her part, which was never done, which was spoken about from the beginning.
Completing things on her part meant completing the house.
Completing the house, talking points.
Okay, but video is completing the house.
That's part of it.
Part of it, and the other one is audio where she tells you what's been done.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm just thinking out loud. Why didn't you do that yourself?
Your Honor, I never had a video to be able to go and do my...
No, I'm saying, did you have access to what he had done up until that time? That's either a yes or a no. Did you have video capability of seeing what video he had shot?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have some evidence to show me that the plaintiff had access to the video that you had shot of 3/4 of the project being completed?
I believe I have something in here about uploading stuff into the Google Drive, which if she didn't have access to that Google Drive, then how did she upload the final walkthrough video that I do have evidence of that is not professional, that I was unable to complete due to her lack of commitment?
Just a second. You have video of what?
There is video evidence of the final walkthrough that was done by somebody on a phone camera because she canceled on me last minute when we were supposed to do it.
Just a second. Where did you get that evidence from?
She uploaded it into the Google Drive that had all of the videos, which she had access to, obviously,
so
if she put it in there.
So what you're saying is Miss Brooks added a video of a final walkthrough that was done by whom?
My son.
By her son. And she added that final walkthrough to the Google Drive, and therefore you were able to get it. And she tacked that on to the work that you did complete. Is that what you're telling me?
All of the rest of the videos are in that same Google
were
Drive.
it's in the
Your
same
Honor, yes.
Google Drive?
Which she had access
I
to
got
the
it.
entire
Now I'd like to see the video.
A video appears on a monitor.
which is not professional quality.
Footage of a kitchen area, then of a living room. Judy turns to Rosa.
What did you do with that, Miss Brooks?
Your Honor,
What did you do with it?
nothing.
Caption coming up.
At first you told me you didn't have access, that you never saw them. Then they were available to you and your son to be able to look at them. You say you never looked at them. I actually find that unbelievable,
Your
Ms. Brooks.
Honor.
I find it unbelievable that you had them and you didn't look at them.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Rosa and Garrett.
Rosa Brooks claims videographer Garrett Manny did not finish her home renovation video.
You didn't send it to him. There's no question you didn't send it to him.
He requested.
You did not send it to him.
No, I didn't No, my son sent it to him.
How do I know that?
He requested it from my son because he asked me to, but I did not know how to forward it to him on the format that he was requiring. I also have tried to meet with Mr. Manning to have him upload or transfer all of the video that I videotaped of when he couldn't make it to his office so that he can upload it onto his computer so he can edit it. He never gave me an edited copy of
Just
anything.
a second. Miss Brooks, is what you're telling me you have never seen any video of the 3/4 of the job that you acknowledge that he did? Are you telling me you've never seen any of those videos?
Never seen any of those videos, Your Honor, only
Okay.
when he was recording it at the property.
Mr. Maney, you wanted to show me something
Yes, Your Honor. Well, there is
at the beginning when we started.
a few things here.
First
This
of all, you have on your Google Drive
Yes, Your Honor.
all of the video that you took,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you currently have it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any way that I can see any of it?
Absolutely. I also have another video that shows real estate videography work that I've done for other clients.
I'm not
My
interested.
level. Okay.
I'm not interested in that.
You should also be able to see on the Google Drive who has access to it.
Oh,
I removed the access when this case came up because I didn't want, at this point, I don't trust the plaintiff. So I removed her access so that she couldn't go and delete the videos and try to claim that she never had
I have
access.
access to them. Got it.
You see,
Give the phone to Sarah, please, Kevin.
there it is, flip videos. That's all the different files with all of the different videos. And there may be something that you can push in there to see when people had access at one point, because I had access for herself as well as her son. And she has prior uploaded videos into there herself.
There's more than 30 videos in here, and
those are just
I
files.
see the two little people on Google Drive, which usually indicates that it's shared with more than one person.
Is it currently shared with anybody other than the defendant? He said he took her off the shared access.
Rosa Brooks does have access to all of the videos.
She does.
Your Honor, can I explain why he set up that folder? Because I also took video myself to upload onto that. He showed me how to do that.
He told me that you also did, but he said that this file also includes the video footage that he took.
Yes, but it was never edited, so I can do voiceovers.
Just a second. I asked you a specific question, Ms. Brooks. I said, did you ever see any of the video that he took? Your answer was no.
No.
Correct?
Correct.
Well, the fact that you didn't look at it, I don't believe. I find no validity to why, if you had it and you were coming to court today and you were dissatisfied, why you wouldn't look at it. You had your son have access to it, and I don't know how old your son is, who took the end video. I'm going to look at some of it, but it's clear to me that Mr. Maney performed a substantial amount of work for you. Clearly, $1,900 worth of work. Clearly. So what happened at the end that caused you to have your son do an end look at what the place looked like? I don't know why, but Mr. Maney said that he has an email from you that I'm going to look at now. That would sort of be dispositive of what happened at the end run of this case. Well, Sarah, could you give me just one look at his?
Sure. So he has all of these different files for different sections of the home, driveway, fireplace, and if you click on them, these are all of the videos taken for flooring. And if you click on this, it's a video of them doing flooring, and you can see who has access to the clips, her son,
Jeffrey and Rosa.
And the owner is the defendant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it.
And there's probably over 50 videos in the file.
So that you and your son had access to these videos over an extended period of time. The fact that you didn't look at it, that's not my problem.
Your Honor, my son did that video late at the end, towards the end of
what I'm telling you is you had access to these videos.
Well,
at first you
did.
told me you didn't have access, that you never saw them. Then they were available to you and your son to be able to look at them. You say you never looked at them. I actually find that unbelievable, Ms. Brooks.
Honor,
I find it unbelievable that you had them and you didn't look at them.
I didn't feel it was a need to look at them, Your Honor. I was anticipating going up to Mr. Manny's office, so once he edited, I could do the voiceovers on them.
Okay.
There was no real
Ms. Brooks,
purpose.
I don't believe that you didn't look at them, madam. This was a $200,000 investment that you made, and this was a project. The first time that your business had done it, I don't believe that you didn't look at them. How much did you sell the house?
That folder for me to put my videos into.
How much did you? You're trying to talk over me. That's not happening.
I'm not.
You sold the house in what month and year?
The house closed on January 2022.
And what did you sell it for?
$555,000.
So you made $350,000.
No, Your Honor, $270,000 went into the house renovation.
Just a second. You sold it for $350,000 more than you paid for it.
Your Honor, I use hard money, and there's lots of.
Just a second. I know you're arguing with me. You bought it for $200,000. You sold it for $550,000.
Yes.
My math is not great, but that's a difference of $350,000. That's all I said to you. I said you bought it for $200,000. You sold it, and the difference between the purchase price and the sale price was $350,000.
Yes, that's correct,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Caption coming up.
So even if you made in those few short months $150,000, you didn't do the physical labor on the house. You had workmen do the physical labor on the house.
I did some of it, Your Honor.
Well, you made a handsome profit. I want you to tell me what you think his work is worth.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Rosa and Garrett.
Rosa Brooks has accused videographer Garrett Manny of not completing her home renovation video.
Now, you sold it in January of 2022.
That's correct.
That's when it closed.
Yes.
When did it go into contract?
Early in the project, Your Honor. It was pretty much the third month after I purchased it. So I purchased it in March. It was under contract around July of 2020.
Well, there was a lot of back and forth and a little bit of cancellation on your part back in December. You needed a little wiggle room. Looks like Monday would be a better day. First it was Friday. So there was lots of back and forth on the endgame video.
Yes, Your Honor. And he
also what?
He also canceled as well. He has to.
Well, that's all right, but
Yeah, back and forth. We both had cancellations. And
I understand that, but this was for the final piece, which is what you're complaining about, the final piece.
Your Honor, he was not responding to me at some point when I tried to contact him to get the opportunity to go to his office to give him the rest of the footage that he needed, that he requested, that he was difficult about because I wasn't able to forward it to him in the format that he needed it for. I offered to come up to his office so that he can, transfer from my phone.
I'm going to ask you a question, Ms. Brooks. I just want to see what I'm dealing with.
Yes.
How many files of video did he have?
Oh, I can't tell.
You told me 30?
There's at least 30.
I had tons of video myself in there that I uploaded that he taught me how to put into those folders. A lot of those videos are my videos that he didn't take.
I don't care. It was on the same thing that you could have looked at and told me that you didn't, which I don't believe. So I want you to understand that. He was involved. There were 30 files. I want you to tell me, how much do you think that on a time basis Mr. Maney is entitled to? You paid him $1,919. He did clearly countless of hours of videoing your project. At the end, it turned south, and the videos were available to you. I want you to give me a figure of what you think is fair. Fair.
I don't have a figure that I think is fair, because first of all, he spent 10 minutes on each visit, first of all, to do his filming.
Where does he live?
Second, he lives like the next town over from me.
Just a second, so he has to get there.
Yeah.
I want you to think, Ms. Brooks, I want you to think of what you personally did to make a profit of $350,000.
Your Honor, I didn't profit that amount.
I'm telling you, that's the difference. You may have spent money in renovating the property, but that's the difference between what you purchased it for and what you sold it for, $350,000. So the sweat of your brow, your work ethic is worth something. So even if you made in those few short months $150,000, you didn't do the physical labor on the house. You had workmen do the physical labor on the house.
I did some of it, Your Honor.
Well, maybe, but you made a handsome profit. I want you to tell me what you think Mr. Maney's work was worth to you, because I'm telling you right now, I am viewing this case as if you and your son had access to 3/4 of the finished product. So I want you to tell me what you think his work is worth.
Your Honor, it's worthless to me that I didn't get the video.
Okay.
I had a website that I needed the video for once the job was completed.
Well, that's unfortunate. You should have had your son do it. Since you can't give me a figure, I'm dismissing your case. We're done. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
Rosa, then Garrett.
First of all, I paid him for something that I never got anything for.
They had access to the files the whole time.
And as far as him saying he uploaded some videos,
The only reason I wasn't able to get the final video
yes, they were uploaded, but I never got a chance to really review them.
is because she canceled on me like 12 hours before we were supposed to do it.
I was not anticipating on reviewing anything that was not edited.
It was her lack of put together a commitment.
Not to pay for anything up front until the project is finished.
You just can't make everybody happy, but
Don't trust anybody.
this is the only client I've ever had that was not happy. That says something.
Sarah and Judy.
I love Google Drive. They leave a record. You can see who started the file, who shared the file, who has access to it, who had revoke access. So I could see as soon as I logged in, he was very organized. He had different areas of the house labeled, individual videos of flooring progress, all of those were owned by him, shared with the plaintiff to be able to view them. So I don't understand why people lie about things that are so easily to be fact-checked.
And did it make sense to you that if you had this project going, and it was the first time that you were memorializing one of your flipped houses, although she had two before, that it was something that she was interested in?
I know for myself on Google Drive, you get emails when things get uploaded. I would have been checking the second that the video got uploaded.
It doesn't make sense that she didn't look at them.
No, not at all. There were some videos that she potentially did add to the Google Drive, so I did see some of those.
Well, that's so interesting, because in order to be able to do that, you have to know
access.
that. Right. Didn't make sense. Not only didn't it make sense, but she had an end video, and it was clearly from the emails back and forth. She would make a date and then say, you know, her buyers aren't exactly ready. She needs a little more wiggle room. Could you make it this? She made it. Anyway, I found it sort of unbusinesslike. Did not.
Harlow.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2108, Howard versus Brooks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Howard, your case is simple. You claim a loan to the defendant for the down payment on a car.
Yes.
When did you make this loan?
March 24th of this year.
How much was it?
I gave him $1,500 and he paid $300.
Where did you take the money from?
I had it at my home.
In cash?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a hairstylist. I'm an owner-operator.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's the sole source of your income?
Yes. I own a salon business. I'm opening my second one.
Tell me how you know the defendant.
He was a client of a former stylist many years ago, so I met him during the salon.
Did you have any sort of relationship with him?
At the time that I met, no.
No. At the time that you gave him this loan,
We were friends.
what did he say he needed the loan for?
To get a vehicle.
to get a car?
He was at Mercedes trying to purchase another car, and I knew he had a baby on the way, so I felt it was...
I want to know what he said to you.
He said that he needed help with the down payment. He was short some for a down payment on a car that he wanted.
Did you have that conversation on the phone or in person?
Yeah, he called me and asked me for originally $2,500 to help him with the down payment. And I told him, well, I don't know if I have that much. I'll see what I can get him. I had the $1,500. He came to pick it up at my home.
And that was on the 24th of March?
Yes.
When did you purchase your car?
I believe it was the 24th as well.
Do you have any paperwork for the car? What paperwork do you have there? I just want to see what you brought with you today.
Basically, the lien holder paper.
And what is that supposed to tell me?
I believe it has the date on there when I purchased it.
Okay. And how much did you put down on the car?
$9,000.
Did you trade in a car?
No.
Why did you need $2,500 from her?
I actually didn't ask for it. I just mentioned to her that I
No, well,
needed
just a
it.
second. I asked you a question.
Okay.
Why did you need extra money towards the down payment? Did it affect the payments? Did it affect the insurance? Did it affect the
yes.
premium?
Basically, the car, it was like $74,000. So if I was to put down a lower payment, like you were saying, the payment would be higher for the monthly. So if I put down a little more, it dropped it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she gave you $1,500, not $25.
Yes.
But she gave you $1,500.
Yeah.
And she gave that to you around the same time that you purchased the car. Were you current in your insurance payments on the car?
Yes.
And then you crashed the car.
Yes.
And the insurance company paid the lien holder on the car.
Yes.
Made the payout.
Yes.
So you didn't get any money from
No,
the insurance.
no.
So now you have no car, right? I don't know if you have a car
I
now.
have a car, yes.
Well, you got another car.
Yes.
What kind of car did you buy?
Tesla.
A Tesla. And how much did you pay for the Tesla?
I put down like $8,000.
Where'd you get the $8,000 from?
I have a place where I hold traveling nurses.
Did you take the money out of a bank or did you have it in cash?
I had it in cash.
The $8,000.
Yeah.
How much money do you make from this business that you have?
It varies depending on how many nurses I have staying there.
So you own the property, or do you manage the property?
I manage the property. So it's basically housing nurses or people that travel for business.
And how long have you had that business?
I've been doing that for maybe a couple years now.
That's how you support yourself?
That, and I do training as well, fitness training.
Okay, so now you paid back $300 of the $15, right?
I gave her $300.
Right, and when did you give her the $300?
I'm not quite sure the date, but
Give me a month.
I'm not quite sure.
When did he give you the $300?
May 17th.
Okay.
Tell me why you gave it back, the $300.
I gave it back to her because she basically...
Not basically, this is basic.
Because she kept asking for it. So just to get her off me for a second. So I gave her $300. Just I didn't feel like I owed it to her because I thought that, you know, it was given to me because we were like really cool.
Just a second. Okay. All right. Well, Miss Howard.
You
Miss
can't
Howard.
be serious.
Miss Howard.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been operating your two salons?
I'm opening a new one now, and the first one was opened in 2012.
Do you live with anyone?
My children,
How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
How old are they?
I have a 17, 18, and 21-year-old.
Big kids.
Yeah, college and high school, yes.
Who supports them?
I do.
From
Their
your
father
work?
helps too, yes.
From your work. Do you live with their father?
No.
No. But he also helps. with
Yes,
them.
he does.
And you sound like a really intelligent, put-together woman who's had her own business, who's got 3 kids, college kids,
Yes.
moving forward.
Yes.
Why? Why do you think, you know, I know that you work, because if you're a hairdresser and that's your source of income, you work really hard. It takes a long time to accumulate $1,500. You know, I'm sure you get some tips and stuff. That's the cash that you keep.
Yeah.
So you work hard and you've got 3 kids who need money. He wants to buy an uber expensive car and he wants his payments to be lower. So he says to you, not that he needs it. See, he doesn't need it to get a car. He wants it to make his payments lower.
That's not how he presented it to me.
How did he present it to you?
He said he needs help, he needs the money for the down payment, and I knew, he told me that, the situation, his car got taken away or whatever. And
His car got what?
his previous vehicle was taken from him.
From how?
I don't know what.
What kind of a car did you have? Before you bought the BMW?
That's what it was. It was a BMW.
Oh, and then you bought a Mercedes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you bought, sorry, I got that confused. You bought the Mercedes using some of her money. Before that, you had a BMW.
Yes.
Okay, and now you have a Tesla. Do you understand how foolish that sounds?
Yes.
You don't want to sound foolish.
Well, like I said, he's had a baby on the way any day now, and my compassion for the situation, I was like, okay, I'll give you that. And I know he's had a source of income. It's not like I've ever known him not to have an income. So I felt like, okay, he'll do right by me. Of course, he didn't. We see.
Do you know how many people stand in exactly that spot and say, I trusted him. He gave me this story, gave me that story.
Yes.
And what I'm telling you is, most of the people standing there, for some reason that has always baffled me, are women.
Caption coming up.
Any guy who takes money from you to lower his car payment and buys a car for $75,000, the only people that do that sort of thing are untrustworthy. Then you change the contract and you said, not acceptable. You're behind $500 and a late payment will only be acceptable with a current payment. Is there anything about that in your contract?
There's not.
Okay, so if it's not in your contract, it doesn't exist.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Van Ness and Antrell.
Van Ness Howard claims her former friend, Antrell Brooks, owes for a car loan.
Most of the people standing there, for some reason that has always baffled me, are women.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I have guys standing there and say, she asked me for this, and so I knew she had a baby on the way, and I felt sorry for it, so I gave them money.
Right.
Most of the time, they say goodbye, which is what you should have said. And
Absolutely.
You appear to be much too fine a lady and
Thank you.
a hardworking lady. Don't give anybody.
No more.
Any guy who takes money from you to lower his car payment and buys a car for $75,000 and asks you for $1,000 or $2,000, knowing that you're a working gal and that he didn't need it to buy a car. He could have bought a car for $50,000. He could have bought a car for $30,000.
Right.
Likes to drive fancy cars with somebody else's money, okay?
Yes.
So the only people that do that sort of thing are untrustworthy, usually, as my great-grandmother would call them, bums. So I would suggest that you be smart in the future. You're a hardworking lady. Hold on to your money. If you want to invest in anything, invest in your children's future. We're done here. Judge complaint.
This court is adjourned.
Mr. Brooks took my money with no intentions of paying back.
I thought it was, she gave it to me.
Oh, car crashed, my tires got slashed.
I thought it was a gift because she really liked me.
Don't let men borrow money.
Judy and Sarah.
Lovely woman, hardworking woman. She's going to have a chain, as Dolly Parton would say, have a chain. Going to have a second salon. On the other side, you have somebody with zero judgment.
He's well versed in other people's money.
Why a perfectly sensible, bright woman would take money that she worked really hard for and give it to somebody that she hardly knows.
Women have to be smarter.
The women have to be smarter, worry about themselves.
Yeah.
Case 2113, Pickett versus Glick. All parties, please step forward.
William Pickett is suing his former friend, Clinton Gick, for unpaid car payments and vehicle damage.
Mr. Pickett, you and the defendant, according to what I've read, were friends. You knew each other.
Yes.
You had a car that you were interested in selling. The defendant was interested in purchasing the car. Your car was 10 or 11-year-old vehicle,
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
When had you purchased it?
I purchased it about a year or so prior.
So you only had the car for a year. You were not an
Sure
original
enough,
owner.
yeah.
Did you pay cash?
I did.
How much did you pay for the car?
Roughly $10,000, $10,000.
No, I want to know. I mean, you came to court today, not a roughly. Today we know the numbers. We're not talking about something that happened 20 years ago, something that happened a year ago. You bought a car a year ago. You paid cash for it, according to you. I want to know how much you paid for it. That's easy. You should have those records.
10,000.
Well, now you say 10, right?
Yep.
Now you say 10. So now I'm going to tell you to go outside and get me the bill of sale for the car.
I did not bring that.
Why?
I didn't think I needed it.
How am I supposed to ascertain what you paid for the car, sir?
I didn't think about that.
Should have thought about it. I thought about it right off the bat. You had the car for 1 year. And when did you sell it to the defendant?
3/18 of 22.
For how much?
$10,000.
Well, then you're a genius businessman, because unless this 10, 11-year-old car, Mr. Pickett, had something really unusual about it, most cars depreciate the moment you drive them out of a lot. You bought this car from a company, which means you paid more for it than if you purchased it through a private person. You understand that?
Yes.
Of course. So there was clearly a markup. Sarah, take a look at a 2012 Dodge Charger with 148,000 miles.
I got it. Between 7,500 and 10,000 for a private party sale.
Okay, so as I thought, the value of the car went down from when you bought it, but you sold it to him for $10,000 because he was making payments. I assume because he was making payments. Did you have a written contract?
I did.
I'd like to take a look at it.
William hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Mr. Glick, how did you know each other, sir?
We worked together. We'd known each other for about a year, I think, at the time the car was sold.
Okay, so the first thing was he traded in something of value, which was he gave you a car.
Correct.
What kind of car did he give you?
Honda minivan.
Did you have the title to that?
Yes, I did.
Did he turn over the title to you?
He did.
What did you do with the Honda minivan?
I sold it.
To whom?
Someone off of Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, when did you sell it?
A few weeks afterwards.
How much did you sell it for? How much did you say you sold it for?
$1,000, $1,200.
Let's get specific, Mr. Pickett.
$1,000.
I'm not exactly sure what he sold it for, but clearly acknowledges at least $1,000. So this is what the lawsuit is about, and I've read your contract. According to the contract that you have here, you listed the dates, the schedule of payments, and you marked off when he paid and when he didn't. But we're going to go through the dates, and your lawsuit seeks damages to the car, repo fees, the unpaid contract price of the car because you repossessed it and you want him to continue until he's finished paying for it. Right, that's what you want.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant has a counterclaim. And his counterclaim, in effect, although he doesn't articulate it in legalese, the basis of his countersuit is that there was never any meaningful breach of the contract and that he tried to make his payments pursuant to the contract and that you repossessed the car without just cause, and he's counterclaiming for the money that he put into the car as equity. That's what your counterclaim is.
That's
correct? Okay. So far, you put in $4,000. According to this, he paid you March of 2022, April. As a matter of fact, he made 2 payments.
Correct. Payment schedule was for every 2 weeks.
Shh. 6/17, he made a partial payment, but made that up on 7/1, so he was up to date. Then you say on the 15th of July, he missed a payment. Did you miss a payment the 15th of July?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Tell me why.
At that point, the plaintiff had already threatened to repossess the car several times before I'd ever missed a payment on the car.
Because you made a partial payment once in June.
Yeah, and also...
But then made it up again within 2 weeks.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so you had already said to him, you missed payments, I'm going to repossess the car.
I didn't threaten to repossess it.
No.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you missed a payment on July 15th.
Yes, and I informed him when I missed the payment that the reason for missing it, he had just filed for bankruptcy, and with his bankruptcy and the threats to repossess the car, I had decided that I wanted to miss, as it states in the contract, that I could miss 2 consecutive payments before repossession. I wanted to talk to a lawyer and make sure that I wasn't going to be putting even more money into a car that
you weren't going to have equity in.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's why you missed July 15th.
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
And it's the 29th of July, also missed.
Yes. So I attempted to give Mr. Pickett a $500 payment on the 29th. He refused to accept that payment, and I have that in text.
I'd like to see it.
Text messages.
I'd like to see it. Do you acknowledge that he attempted to give you a payment on the 29th?
Yeah, he attempted to make a partial payment.
He attempted to give you $500.
Correct.
Clinton hands a document to Kevin.
And tell me why you didn't accept the $500. He missed the payment on the 15th.
I informed him on the 16th that I would not accept a late payment unless it's in conjunction with the current payment.
You can't change the contract, sir. You can't change a written contract.
Caption, coming up.
there was a loan on this car.
Yeah, there's a title loan on it.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. That adds a different wrinkle to this whole thing, because he told me you paid cash for the car, so I assume there was not a problem.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, William and Clinton.
William Pickett claims his former friend, Clinton Gick, owes for car payments and vehicle damage. Clinton is countersuing, claiming Williams sold the car under false pretenses.
Now, you had a written contract with him. If you're changing the terms, he has to agree to the terms in writing in the same force and manner of the original contract, which is this in writing signed by both parties. You have a contract here. The contract says he can't miss 2 consecutive payments. He wasn't missing 2 consecutive payments. He missed July 15th, and he tried to give you one on the 29th of July. If you refuse to accept it, he hasn't missed 2 payments. You refuse to accept the second one. Got it?
Got it.
Kevin brings a document from Clinton to Judy.
Okay, well, I see the interchange, Mr. Pickett, and the interchange clearly says you're paying your $1,000 today or returning my car. He says, I'll be giving you my $500 payment that's due today. Then you changed the contract and you said, not acceptable. You're behind $500 and a late payment will only be acceptable with a current payment. Is there anything about that in your contract?
There's not.
Okay, so if it's not in your contract, it doesn't exist, and you had so far no reason to repossess the car. Did he try to make a payment to you in August?
I think one other time between the time I repossessed it.
Okay, well, you had no reason to repossess it so far unless he missed 2 consecutive payments or unless he failed to keep insurance. Did he fail to keep insurance?
I have never been given proof of insurance.
This doesn't require that you are given proof of insurance.
Or not.
This doesn't say you require proof. Did you have insurance on the car?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Through whom?
Erie Insurance Agency.
Okay, and you have no information to the contrary?
I don't.
Okay, fine. So at the time you repossessed the car so far, Mr. Pickett, you didn't have basis under your contract to repossess the car.
There was also other terms that I believed he had violated.
Well, let's hear them. So far, he didn't miss 2 consecutive payments. Had you filed for bankruptcy?
I had started filing for bankruptcy, yeah.
Is that completed?
Still hasn't been discharged yet. I think I have another month or so.
Was this the first time you filed for bankruptcy?
Yes,
Buyer misses 2 or more consecutive payments. Buyer fails to maintain full coverage under insurance. Any significant damage to the vehicle that is not repaired in 30 days. Did you notify Mr. Glick of any damage to the car? Give him notice and say, pursuant to the contract, it has to be fixed in 30 days?
We had talked about it when he came to drop off one of his payments, and he said...
Well, give me a month.
It was...
A month and a year.
It was in June.
June of 2022, he came over to drop off a payment, and that would have either been on June 3rd or June 17th.
Correct.
Okay, and tell me about the conversation.
I said, hey, there's a dent in the front now. He said he'll get taken care of. At that point, I didn't really inspect the car because...
Well, I don't care what you didn't do.
Yeah.
I want to know what you did.
Yeah, I told him, it needs to be fixed. And he said he'll get taken care of.
Okay, and?
When I repossessed it, it was still there, as well as more damage.
Okay. Did he talk to you about the dent in the front?
I don't recall that conversation ever happening. There was text messages sent to me about damage to the car. The car had dents and dings all over it when I got the car. I mean, the front bumper even had significant damage to it.
You repossessed the car at the end of August. Where is the car now?
At my house.
What's it doing at your house?
I was just sitting there for the moment.
Well, what's your intention to do with the car?
Give it up in my bankruptcy or repair it and keep it and pay it off.
Who has the title?
The title loan company.
So there was a loan on this car?
Yeah, there's a title loan on it.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. That adds a different wrinkle to this whole thing because he told me you paid cash for the car, so I assume there was not a problem. When did you take out a title loan on the car?
I took out the title loan.
Month and year?
One of them was in December of 21.
Did you know that there was a title loan taken out on this car?
I knew that there was one. I didn't know that there were multiple. I don't know. But yeah, I did know there was a title loan.
Did you know in what amount?
No, I was never.
Well, that's pretty dumb of you.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, because if you're buying something free and clear that he owes nothing on, that's one thing. How much was the title loan?
Roughly $6,000 is what was owed on it still at that point when he bought it.
How much did you pay off?
A few thousand by that point. It's super high interest.
Okie dokie. Mr. Pickett, you're claim against the defendant is dismissed. I'm now entertaining his counterclaim. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You get stuck with this car. Now, problem is, you drove this car.
Yes.
Was it your primary source of driving the car?
Yes, it was.
Okay. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, right?
Yes.
Okay, so, Mr. Glick, this was your primary vehicle. How much do you think it would cost you to rent a car per month? Per month. Give me a figure.
To rent a car
Yeah.
per month, I would say $900 a month, probably something like that, $900,000 a month, maybe.
Okay. Based upon what you told me, it's not so egregious because you had the use of the car for 10 months. I actually don't think that an 11-year-old car would cost that much to rent, $900 a month, considering that you also paid for your own insurance.
Correct.
And if
Right.
you rented a car, that the insurance would, of necessity, come with a car. Sarah, could you look up for me best deals on leasing a Dodge Charger? I don't know what that is. Is that a truck?
It's a car.
Is there a site where you could look that up?
I'll see what I could find.
But the intention was that money was going to go towards, something that I would own.
Well, I understand that,
right.
but you had full use of his property for 10 months.
Sure.
You don't think it's fair for you not to pay for some of that use?
I would think the depreciation in the car for the mileage that I put on it would be more than fair. Absolutely.
Everything depends on how much you put down versus how much you pay monthly, so there's a wide
range. Give me the range. He didn't put anything.
$786 a month, $843 a month, but these are for brand new Dodge Chargers, not for 2012.
Oh.
So.
Okay. And according to you, the current low price on this car is $7,500 price.
For a private party.
For a private
yes.
party, low price, $7,500.
Yes.
So you're going to resell this car, and the car is currently in working order, and the low price on that car is $7,500, right?
Yes.
And he's already paid you $5,000.
Yes.
In order to break even, if you sold that car, all you need is $2,500.
Correct.
So I think that it's more than fair to give you credit for the $2,500 from what you paid.
Okay.
You paid $5,000. Half of that seems to be a more than reasonable figure to have full use of his property, and he repossessed the car. I don't think he had any basis to repossess the car, which is why he dismissed his case. And you certainly don't want to get involved with bankruptcies and payments, so you don't want this car back, because getting this car back will be more trouble for you than anything else.
Exactly.
I absolutely understand that, because then you're dealing with his creditors and whatever. I'm not trusting that whole situation. In any event, I don't think that you paying $2,500 towards the rental of the car over a 10-month period is unreasonable, and then he's whole. Then if he wants to spend money to have the car spruced up before he sells it, well, maybe he can get $8,500 for it, and then he's whole. So now everybody's happy. Judgment on the counterclaim for $2,500. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
I'm very happy.
Needed a car, I had a car.
I don't think it was an honest transaction on his part.
I'll keep buying and selling.
See, I think he was just trying to get a quick payday.
Sarah and Judy.
So I just want to make sure I
Are suing their neighbor, Scott Elam, for the cost of a baby macaw bird.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge.
Hello, Kevin.
Case 2194, Franchini Nunez versus Ellen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Nunez,
Yes.
your husband?
Yes, ma'am.
You and Mr. Allen?
Elam, Your Honor.
Elam are neighbors.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have backyards that are joined, separated only by a fence.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of fence?
It looks plastic. I'm not sure.
It's
Who
a
has a
vinyl
picture of the
Your Honor.
fence?
Scott hands a document to Kevin.
And you each have, as would happen, dogs, same breed.
No, ma'am.
What do you have?
I have a Shetland sheepdog and a Dutch shepherd, ma'am.
And what do you have?
I have shepherd mixes.
How many dogs?
2, Your Honor.
And you have 2.
Yes, ma'am.
This is what the case is about. This is the fence. It's not a chain link fence. It's either a wooden or a plastic fence. And you can see that underneath this fence, there's a board here where I assume there's a hole because the dogs dig holes to get to each other. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fair statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Case is about an incident that occurred. You've been neighbors for a while, and you have had this dog digging also for a while. Also correct?
Yes, the defendants.
Okay. This incident happened on the 16th of December, 2022.
Yes.
Why don't you tell me what happened?
I got up that morning to let my dogs out.
Both.
One dog. Okay, so the day started out, me and my husband woke up. My husband had to go get a tire fix, so he took my smallest dog, my Shetland sheepdog, with him. I remained home with my 2 children.
Slowly. Okay.
Sorry.
How old are your kids?
They are 6 and 7, ma'am.
Okay.
I remained home with my children because they were ill, and I had an appointment with them later on that day. My husband went to go fix the tire at 8 a.m. I got up in the morning to let my dog out.
Got up in the morning to let your dog out?
Yes.
The Shepherd mix?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I let her out, and then she came back in, and I was cleaning, and my 2 children were in my master suite with my macaw, Penelope.
Okay. That's what the case about. This case about a macaw.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
cost of a macaw.
Yes.
Which is a bird.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
My kids were in the master suite. I opened the door. I'm out there cleaning. I let my dog out of my
And the dog came back.
sliding door. She came back. Well, then she stayed by the door. Now, none of my windows have curtains, so I can...
Just a second. So then, but she stayed by the door, but she was inside?
She came back inside. I shut the door. This was 20 minutes went by. She's by the door. She's crying. I told her we would play later. I assumed she had to go to the restroom again, and I let her out again. She stood on the step, but she didn't go further than that, and she was just kind of staring out. From the left side of the house is where the defendant's dog, Bella, charged in my home. And then when I tried to grab her...
When you say his dog, Bella,
yes,
came into the side and ran into the house, that doesn't... Somehow, if the dog, Bella, came out and your dog was on the step, it would seem to me would stop on the step at first to sniff, play with your dog if your dog is sitting outside. I mean, I have dogs. Would go over to that dog first, not run into your house.
You would think that, ma'am, but she's been in our house 3 times before this because I had to return her to the defendant on 3 separate occasions. And she didn't do that day. When she came in the backyard on the 3 other instances, I remember the very first time someone from that household came to my door, and I knew the dog was in my backyard, but I didn't open my door. I left her back there. I figured they'd come. They did. And I said, hold on a second. I put my kids, I put my Sheltie in the room with my bird, and I shut the door.
Are we talking about the same date, December?
We're talking about other days that I brought.
Okay, let's not go on tributaries.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your dog's name?
Lucy.
Lucy. So the dog just went straight into your house. And what did Lucy do?
Lucy charged after her and tried to attack her.
Okay, so the dog has been in your house before. Have there been incidents with the 2 dogs?
No, ma'am. The defendant's dog is submissive to my dog. So the only time I brought the dog in my home was when I shut all the doors to all my bedrooms. Someone from the defendant's home came. I opened up the front door, brought her in, and she went straight out because there was nowhere else for her to go.
Okay, so it's your dog that is Lucy is the more aggressive dog.
Lucy's never been aggressive with her. I believe that Lucy was aggressive with her that day because of the way she came in the house.
When you say Lucy was aggressive, what did she do?
She started growling at her, and she started...
In the house?
Yes.
Now they're in the house. Put a period there. We have the 2 dogs in your house.
Yes.
And they are growling at each other. So that's not a happy picture because they're big dogs.
Yes.
Now let's get to the bird. You purchased a macaw.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a photograph of what they look like?
Yes.
When did you purchase the macaw?
I purchased her with payments over time. I completed the purchase at the end of September 30th.
This is the macaw.
Yes, ma'am. That's my
A parrot?
Yes, ma'am.
In December, how old was she?
She was going to be 8 months.
And how much did you pay for her?
I paid $4,320.08 for Penelope.
Okay, can I see the bill?
Absolutely, ma'am. Her birth certificate along
She's
with
beautiful.
all of the...
Pretty bird.
Thank you, ma'am.
Patricia weeps. Caption, coming up.
She bolted in my master suite where my kids were.
Lucy?
No, Bella.
Bella.
Bella did. And I went in there, I heard my kids screaming, Bella is killing Penelope.
And later today.
Is there something wrong with your mind?
No.
Did you just say to me, am I crazy? Did he say he owed back child support?
Yes.
To her?
Yes.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Patricia, Giovanni, and Scott.
Patricia Franchini claims her neighbor, Scott Ellum, owes for the cost of a baby macaw bird killed by Scott's dog.
Tell me what got you interested in the macaw.
Earlier this year, full disclosure, ma'am, I had ended up in the hospital very sick for 2 weeks, and I was going through a lot, and I started volunteering at the bird store down by my home, and I really liked the Hans macaw because my grandma had one when she was younger.
Slowly.
Yes, ma'am. And so I spent a lot of time bonding with the birds there, and my husband and I thought it would be good and therapeutic for me, given what I had been going through.
Okay, now the two dogs are in your house, sort of fighting with each other.
They did not fight, ma'am. I did not
Well,
allow them to.
growling.
Yes, ma'am.
Growling at each other. And tell me what happened with Bella and the macaw.
I tried to calm Lucy down, and my master door was open. Everything was happening so fast. I know I'm describing it slowly, but it was quick. She bolted in my master suite where my kids were.
Lucy?
No, Bella.
Bella.
Bella did. I heard my kids screaming, "Bella is killing Penelope." And
that's the bird?
Yes. And I tried to get to Bella. I couldn't. My dog was standing in between us. And while I was with the two dogs, then my son thought, oh, I'm going to go get her. And that's when Bella kind of snapped at him, and she scratched him. And so then I couldn't get her. I couldn't. She literally was like chewing her up and like dropping her and like biting her again, you know? And it wasn't until my Dutch Shepherd bit her on the nose that she finally let her go. And I swooped and I grabbed her. I booked it to my pantry in my kitchen with my kids. And Lucy stayed in front of the door. And I have a door on it, and I just stayed in there. And I called my husband, and I was screaming on the phone. He got home maybe, I don't know how long. It probably really only was like 5 or 10 minutes, but it felt like forever. She was like
and
dying
where was
in my
Bella
arms.
during this time?
Bella was around the pantry with the bird in her mouth. And then I took the bird from Bella, and then I put her to the cage. And then Lucy just stayed by the parrot. And then I opened the door and talked to the kids. They were all hysterical, and I was trying to understand what she was saying.
Where was Bella?
Bella was in the kitchen with a parrot.
And how did Bella get back to the defendant?
I walked her over.
How did you do that?
Kind of like how a mother pup grabs her by the neck. I grabbed her by the neck, and I walked her over.
Okay, your dog killed their bird in their house. And?
Your Honor, the hole that allowed Bella to get into their backyard was primarily dug by their dog over the course of many, many months.
And?
I continued to repair my side of the fence. Their dog continued to dig the hole, destroyed wood that I had put there. The dog got through. In that story, it's sad, but that's not the story that he gave to my wife when he came pounding on my door.
Well, you can't tell me what he said to your wife, sir.
Okay, that's fair, Your Honor. I can tell you what he said to me. I called him.
You can tell me what he said to you.
Instantly?
Just you have to understand, he wasn't home when your dog got into the house. He came home at the end of the episode. Do you understand that?
I understand that.
Okay. Understanding that, you can tell me your version of what he said to you.
What they both said to me. I've had conversations with the both of them since this has happened.
Okay.
The story has changed 2 or 3 times. First, it was she was doing something in the backyard, and Bella just came charging in and basically knocked her out of the way, got inside. The first story was, I assumed the entire time that he was home, because when he was talking to me over the phone...
I don't care what you assumed. He wasn't home when it started. Your problem, sir, is, first of all, you were aware of the hole. I don't care who dug it. You were aware of it. And it's not the first time that the dog has gone onto their property. Has their dog got onto your property?
No, because I fixed my side of it. I take care
so
of
the
my
answer
house.
the answer is no.
Correct.
Who do you live in your house with?
My wife and my children.
How old are your children?
I have a 1-year-old. I have a 7-year-old.
Let us say it's their fault that the hole existed that allowed your dog to get out. But you were aware of it because it had happened before that they had to bring your dog back. That a fair statement?
That's fair, yes.
Okay. Let us assume that it was your dog that was responsible for the hole. And their dog, despite the fact that yours was a better digger, you know, having dogs and having a fence, they both dig at the same place. They may not have fixed their side, but they both dig at the same place, trying to get to each other. Whose fault do you think it would be if their dog created the major part of the hole, got into your yard, and bit your 1-year-old? Whose fault would that be?
I think it would be equally our faults.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah.
Really?
For digging, for not taking care of your property, absolutely.
Really? I actually find that answer sort of bizarre.
I would take responsibility if my child got hurt due to something that I didn't take care of. Absolutely, I would.
Well, you may feel guilty about it, but you would certainly want them to pay all of your child's medical bills.
No, I would not.
Well, then you're a better person than the law is, sir, because your dog was outside of your control, clearly, because it got into their house. It was something that you were aware was a possibility, no matter who dug the hole, so you were aware because it had happened before, and your dog caused damage. And the damage your dog caused, and I'm putting the emotional distress, these two young children and the plaintiff, seeing your dog kill this bird that they had been paying off so much per month for a very long time. Putting aside that, they paid $4,300 for this property that your dog destroyed. And that's your fault. You're responsible for that. So if, because of this problem, and your dog has a problem, and their dog has not come onto your property, but your dog comes onto their property, then you have to say, you know what? I'm not letting my dog go out unsupervised because it has created trouble in the past. May have been their fault because they didn't fill in the hole as quickly or as carefully as you did. But you knew that that happened, and you're responsible for the damage. It would be no different than if the dog ran inside, and as she was trying to get the dog bit her, and she had to have surgery, and she had to have a plastic surgeon deal with reconstruction. Who do you think would be responsible for that? That would be you. And just because it's a poor little bird that happened to be the victim of this doesn't make you any less responsible. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,300. We're finished.
Court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Patricia, then Scott.
I feel like it was justice for Penelope.
When a homeowner doesn't take care of their property and someone lets another dog in their house, they shouldn't be blaming other people for that.
It was extremely difficult to hear my kids screaming like that and do nothing to calm them down.
The judge's ruling is the judge's ruling.
I hope that he never gets another pet again.
I don't think there's gonna ever be a relationship, which is totally fine by me.
Sarah and Judy.
One of the most interesting things about that case is I don't think that the defendant's dog, Bella, was a quote-unquote aggressive dog. But I didn't get a hint that the other dog was even aggressive, even by the fact that the husband was able to walk her back by the scruff of the neck. If that was an aggressive dog, they would just turn right around and give you a nice little snap. So that says to me that although the dog didn't obviously do it on purpose, what are you going to do? But you're responsible as a defendant. You let your dog out. It's a act that's happened more than once. You were on notice.
Dog is out of your control. You're responsible. That's the bottom line.
Case 2202, Young versus Buchanan. All parties, please come forward.
Essie Young is suing her granddaughter's father, Keith Buchanan, for an unpaid loan she gave him for a car.
Judy.
Miss Young, the defendant is married to your daughter?
No.
He is the father of your grandchild?
Yes.
Did he and your daughter live together?
No.
Where does your daughter live?
In Maple Shade.
Were they ever married?
No.
They have one child?
Yes.
Who's 12?
Yes.
Did you live together with Miss Young's daughter?
Well, at one point, she lived with me in Maple Shade.
How long ago?
This was 2010, 2011.
You mean when your daughter was a baby?
Yes.
How long have you had custody of your granddaughter?
11 years. My daughter never stayed with him.
I don't know that. He says she did.
Yeah, but she did.
Caption coming up.
So she got that money that he owed her for child support for taking care of his daughter, and he wrote that off of the loan. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Essie and Keith.
Essie Young claims her granddaughter's father, Keith Buchanan, refuses to pay back a loan she gave him for a car.
This is a very simple case, because I don't have to get into the history of why you have custody of your granddaughter.
Yes.
Mr. Buchanan, according to you, asked you for a loan to buy a car.
Yes.
When was that?
Before he got it, he was calling every day.
Did you maintain a relationship with him?
Yes and no.
Would he visit his daughter?
No.
Ever?
Once in a blue moon.
Okay.
I usually have to take my granddaughter to see him.
Okay. It was sort of odd to me if he was never married to your daughter, so they didn't have a formalized relationship. They don't live together now. Why would you loan him? I know that you did. Mm-hmm. Why would you loan him money?
My granddaughter.
Except you're a very nice person.
My granddaughter asked me to. She said, Grandma, would you please help my dad? I told her I really don't want to. And she said, could you please do it for me?
Oh, different story.
Yes, and then I said, okay.
Okay, so you discussed with your daughter during one of these visits that you needed money to buy a car?
No, never did.
You never did?
No.
Who is this person?
That's my wife.
Does she work?
Yes.
Do you work?
Yes.
Well, why would you ask your daughter's grandmother, who takes care of her, who's always taken care of her? You don't, neither does her mother. Why would you not ask your wife's family? You both work, take out a loan. Why would you go to her and ask her for money?
But it was a situation that happened and I lost my previous car. I contacted SC, I talked to SC.
No, I'm asking you why you would ask her. What would prompt you to call her? Doesn't she have parents?
Yes, she do. I did that, and at the time, they couldn't help.
So you went to her parents first?
I went to her family first. They said, sorry, they can't help at the time. So Mrs. Young was my last resource, which I didn't want to use, but at the time, I had to use it because I had no other choice. I had to hurry up and get a vehicle.
Well, why didn't you take out a loan?
Actually, I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
Because my credit's not all that great. I tried to take out loans. I tried to go...
Does your wife have a car?
Yes, she has a car.
Okay, why don't you use her car?
She worked. I work an hour and a half away from home, and she worked too, and we worked around the same time.
How much money did you borrow from her?
$2,000.
How much did you give back?
$912.
$912. Show me.
Keith hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy.
On page 4, May 5th, 2022, she got $912.
From what?
From my taxes. And we agreed on once I filed my taxes, I would give her $2,000 for my taxes. She got $912 from them, that same taxes, because I owed backup child support. So she got on top of my regular payment for child support plus $912.
What? Is there something wrong with your mind?
No.
Did you just say to me, am I crazy? Did he say he owed back child support?
Yes.
And so she got that money that he owed her for child support, for taking care of his daughter, and he wrote that off of the loan. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Oh, my God. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Well, not ever. I should take that back. It's the dumbest thing I've heard today.
Sarah nods.
If you owed her back child support, how much did you owe her?
I only owed her $900.
In back child support?
Yes.
Okay.
That I fully forgot.
Just a second. You owed her that money. In addition to owing her that money, you owed her $2,000. Do you understand that? So you owed her $900 plus $2,000. Are you not following me? Am I getting something wrong here?
I'm with you.
Are you following that? That's either a yes or a no.
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, I'm going to repeat it again. What you said was they took money out of your taxes for back child support, $900. So that means you paid her $900 of the $2,000. That's what your argument is.
Yes.
Am I getting that?
Yes.
You already owed her the $900.
I had no awareness that I owed her $900. When I found out that $900 got taken out the taxes, I had no tax coming back. I was like, look, you got $900. You're going to have to give me time. And that's when it went south.
Oh, you got $900 that I owed you anyway. Now I need more time. Oh, my God. How is your granddaughter in school? She do okay?
Yes, she
does
well.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Either his math skills or his moral skills are somehow lacking.
It's the moral.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Essie, then Keith.
I think the judge seen right through him.
He was going to be miserable, so I just let him be miserable.
No one thinks like that.
As long as she go about her life, I go about my life, leave my family alone.
I just think he was hustling me.
Only contact me when he got something to do with my daughter, that's it.
I don't want anything to do with him either.
Sarah and Judy.
So initially, I may have been a little lost. It took me some time to get there. But I thought that what the defendant was saying was that he was expecting $2,000.
Michael Kodia and his girlfriend Brianna Serrano for a personal loan, car damages, and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2056, Garrett versus Codio scenario.
Thank you. Miss Garrett, this gentleman, Michael Codio, is that
correct?
Codio?
Yes.
You and Mr. Codio have been lifelong friends, according to what I read in the complaint. Lifelong, you're both very young. How do you know him?
Well, we used to ride bikes together. His mom used to also braid my hair when I was a child every Sunday.
But you and Mr. Codio were never involved in any relationship other than just friendship?
No.
And Mr. Codio, Miss Serrano is currently your girlfriend.
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
She had been your girlfriend and been living with you for a while, and you have a child together.
Yes, correct. Well, she's currently pregnant. We're expecting, they're expecting.
Great. You had a fight with Miss Serrano, and that was around June of this year?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was a substantial enough fight that Miss Serrano left the home, and she left the home with your child. And how old is your child?
As I was saying, we are expecting.
So you don't have a child together?
She's 6 months pregnant, currently.
Okay. So you're just living, and she left?
Correct.
At about the same time, Miss Garrett, your friend, needed a place to stay.
I wouldn't say needed a place to stay, but...
What would you say?
It was more like, I kind of had a clue, like she had a place to stay, but it was just one of those situations.
No, look over here. Look over here. Okay.
Sorry.
Now, Mr. Codio, I want you to understand there are very few stories that are new under the sun. I want you to really understand that. I have children. I have grown grandchildren, boys and girls. I've seen all the movies that I want to see about romance and guys. So your girlfriend leaves you.
Yeah.
Yes. And would it be fair to say that you invite Miss Garrett to come and stay with you?
Yes, it would be fair.
Had you ever invited her to come and stay with you before?
No, I have not. Not in the current apartment that I'm staying in right now, no.
Had you in another apartment?
No.
So the answer is you had never invited your friend to come and stay with you before?
No.
Interesting. So on June 27th, she left. On what date did you invite Miss Garrett to come and stay in your apartment?
June 16th.
June 16th?
Yes.
So 11 days before Miss Serrano left?
Miss Serrano left about a week prior to her coming.
What date did you leave, Miss Serrano? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I recall it was the end of, or mid-June of this year, I would say. I had personal things going on, so I really wasn't, Now,
Miss Serrano, I'm going to ask you why you left.
We had a falling out. Me and Michael had a falling out.
Yes. What did you and Michael have a falling out about?
Well, at the time, my mother was in the hospital, so that it was a disagreement surrounding having to move back home and take care of her in the household.
And?
And that was pretty much it.
Well, what did he say? He said he didn't want you to, and you...
Yeah, he pretty much, long story short, didn't want me to move back to my mother's house, so that caused,
Okay, so he wanted you to stay?
Yes. Yes, he wanted me to stay, but, He
wanted you to stay. Now, did you know that the two of you were expecting at that time in June?
Yes.
So he knew that you were expecting a baby, that you wanted to go back to your mother's house because she was ill and you wanted to help take care of her. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And despite the fact that he said, don't go, you left?
Yes, ma'am.
And you went home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And it would be fair to say that he was annoyed?
Yes.
Oh, I'm getting this whole picture now. It's so easy. Okay. And about a week later, he invites this attractive young lady who's been a friend of his for a long time, a non-romantic friend, to move into the apartment.
Yes.
You know that was nasty, right?
Oh, no, yes, I know.
You know that was nasty.
That was an agreement between them.
No. But you know that was a sort of a nasty thing to do.
Oh, no, I'm fully aware. Yes, ma'am.
I just want you to know what you're sort of dealing with.
Yes, I'm fully aware of what I'm dealing with. Thank you, though. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, so, Mr. Codio, I wanted to sort of get even a little bit. You invite Miss Garrett to come and move in, no rent or anything, because you didn't have an agreement to pay rent. You weren't going to pay rent or anything, and you moved in. And you moved in on?
I moved in on the 1st.
On the 1st of?
July.
July 1st. Now, Miss Serrano, I'm going to come back to you because this is such a fascinating story.
Oh, Lord.
Such a fascinating story. And he deserves to get dumped on a little bit.
Oh, there's more where that came from, yeah. I said that's more where that came from, yes.
Okay, and between the time you left and July 1st, when Miss Garrett was invited to come to stay at the house, were you in communication with Mr. Codia?
Yes, I would say like every day or every other day we spoke, arguments, you know how it is.
Yeah, well, first of all, you're pregnant and you have emotions and then you're taking care of family members and whatever, and so I got it. Did he tell you that Miss Garrett was moving in?
Yes.
When?
I would say I found out around like the 27th, 28th.
Of June?
Yes.
Tell me how you found out that she was moving in.
I believe at that point she was already moved in at that point.
Okay, and what made you think that?
Just based off of how the conversation went or how he told me.
Tell me what he told you.
What I was told was that a friend was moving in to solely cook and clean.
Nashera smirks. Caption, coming up.
See what's happening to him? This fly is getting vengeance on him.
That's getting on me too.
What the hell's going on? Oh, you got a swapper too, wow.
I'm waiting for it to come over here.
Yes.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Nashera, Michael, and Brianna.
Nashera Garrett claims her former friend, Michael Codia, and his girlfriend, Brianna Serrano, owe for a personal loan and an assault.
Tell me what he told you. I'm curious. I want to know.
What I was told was that a friend was moving in to solely cook and clean. That's what I was told.
Okay, did he tell you who?
Who it was. I never met her.
But he told you who it was?
Yes, he told me who it was.
And that made you, I would probably guess, a little annoyed and unhappy.
I mean, I was annoyed.
I would be annoyed.
I mean, I was annoyed because I had personal things going on, but in between that time before actually realizing that she was living at my apartment, I actually had a brief interaction with her. I met her at a park. I met her. So...
Between the time you moved out?
Yes.
Okay. Was it you met because you contacted each other, or you met by accident?
We met because me and Michael just, had a conversation to have had at that point in time. I'm assuming she was there in the area, so he just wanted to kill two birds with one stone. He said, do you want to meet the person, who's there, who I'm living with, and that's how it went.
And was it a cordial meeting?
Yes, it was.
You met her, she met you?
Yes.
And he said, I just want you to meet the lovely-looking girl that I'm now living with because you went home to take care of your mother.
I guess so, if you want to put it...
Yes, he...
Don't forget.
This is what your case is about. First, you claim that you loaned Mr. Codia $750 for rent.
Yes.
And you did that because he said once Miss Serrano moved out, she wasn't paying her rent. He was short on rent. That's what I read here. Mr. Codia has a whole different story. He said while he told you that he was a little short on rent and he was going to have to get a third job.
That's not true.
Just a second. You jumped in and offered to give him $750. That's what you wrote here. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, Mr. Codia, did you tell Miss Serrano that somebody was moving into the apartment just to cook and clean? That's what she says.
Yes, that's exactly my words. Exactly my words, yeah.
That's exactly what you told her.
Correct.
You didn't tell Miss Serrano, the soon-to-be mother of your child, that you had a roommate who was paying rent.
I did not.
Miss Serrano, what kind of work were you doing when you were living together in June?
I had a work-from-home position, will still currently do as a Medicaid specialist.
Were you sharing rent with him?
Yes. Everything was 50-50.
Did you pay him any rent in July?
No, I did not.
Did you pay him rent in June?
Yes.
So you paid him the $750. That was your share of the rent? Is that what your share was?
That was my share of the rent. June was already paid for. July I did not pay because I did not believe I was going to be there.
Okay. Tell me what he said to you that caused you to give him this $750.
Well, he texted me one morning and said that Brianna was no longer going to pay her half of the rent as of July, and that if he can...
You were living there already?
Yes, and if I give him $750, he would give it back to me. And we never discussed anything about me cooking or cleaning. I actually brought groceries, which he said that he would pay me back for, too, while I'm staying there.
Okay, so you were actually there for 5 days, is that right?
About 5 days.
5, 6 days. And at some point around the first week in July, July 5th, 6th, or 7th, you came to the apartment.
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
We had went inside the apartment.
Who's we?
Michael and I, sorry. Michael
So
and I
you were
went-
out, so you weren't staying there. Where had you met him?
We actually met at work. We've been together for a year and a half.
I understand that, but you came home to the apartment together, and that was, I think, on the 7th of July.
Yes.
On the 7th of July. Where had you been? You'd been out. You hadn't been staying in the apartment.
Oh, no, yeah, I was out actually just going to rosaries and stuff like that. I actually went to go pick him up after a family function from work. After picking him up from work, we went back to the apartment, went upstairs.
Was that the first time you had been back to the apartment?
No.
Since you left?
Since I left, I've been there on and off. Like, not on and off, but like every other couple days. But I've been there, not living there, but I've been there spending the night and, you know.
Have you ever, when you were there, had you seen Miss Garrett?
Nope, but I've seen her belongings, though.
Okay. But you knew she was there because he told you that she was there.
Exactly.
So on the 7th, you picked him up, you went back to the apartment, and you'd been there before, but you had never actually physically seen her in the apartment.
Correct.
Despite the fact that you knew she was there.
Correct.
Because you'd been introduced to her.
Correct.
Okay. And what happened?
So we went upstairs. She seen that I was with him, and I guess that must have made her mad.
No, just tell me what happened.
So there was an argument.
Tell me what the argument was.
I don't even know what the argument was, honestly. She just seen me, and then there was an argument that unfolded about what I still don't know still to this day.
Okay, so now Miss Garrett, they came home, and?
Okay, so them two never came in the apartment together at all that night and previously.
No, just tell me that night.
Oh, that night. So me and Michael discussed that, hey, listen, things are not working out. He has had multiple people in and out his house, and he was making me very uncomfortable, as well as Miss Serrano popping up.
So what do you say? He's had multiple people in the house?
Guys, women every night. I would sleep in the park. One night I slept in the park because he had Miss Serrano popping up at 3 o'clock in the morning, her throwing my things around, telling me to get out the house. So I had to go in my car and go sleep in the park. And we had conversations that night when it happened, when she popped up. Hey, can I go sleep?
What date was that?
It was, I want to say July the 2nd or the 3rd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before the 7th?
Right.
Okay. And that's when you went out and slept in the park?
Yes.
Just a second. Mr. Cody, you remember that evening?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And that evening on July 2nd or 3rd, Miss Serrano was around, and they don't get along.
They do not.
Which is exactly what you anticipated.
Of course.
When you invited her to stay with you.
Sadly.
Absolutely right. Going to have two women fight over the prize, the grand prize. Okay. Did you take $750 from her?
No, I did not.
Did you? I didn't ask you with a loan.
Yes,
I didn't ask you. She has proof that she gave it to you.
Yes, she
Okay, so let's not play. Did you take $750 from her?
I did.
So it goes back to her. That's $750. Now we're going to get to what she alleges is the remainder of her lawsuit, which is damages for assault. Okay. On the 7th of July, there was some sort of an altercation. You want to tell me what that was?
Yes.
Caption coming up.
You did something that annoyed him. You went back to take care of your sick mother, which also attests to his bad character. And then what he does is he invites someone, a woman, to come into the house because he knows that it's going to irritate you. That's exactly what happened. He acknowledges that.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Nashera, Michael, and Brianna.
Nashera Garrett has accused her former friend, Michael Codia, and his girlfriend, Brianna Serrano, of damaging her car and assaulting her.
Now, on the 7th of July, there was some sort of an altercation. You want to tell me what that was?
Yes. So that evening, I went into the house, and he had his witness, Darius, there. And
this person?
Yes. And me and Michael had conversations about him before, and I just thought it wasn't a good influence. So that evening, I walk in the house, and I'm sorry, let me back that up. I asked Michael if he's gonna have men come in the house, could he please be there while I'm there with them? Because I didn't feel comfortable. He said yes. So when I walked in that evening and saw Darius there, I texted Michael and said, Michael, we need to have another talk, because every talk we have, I'm thinking that we're having understandings, but we're not. So, and Darius set up a whole twin-sized bed up in the living room. living room. So I went out to my car. I said, Michael, when you get home, I'm in my car, so meet me in my car when you get off. It was around 8:30 when Michael had came, and I was sitting in my car. Me and Michael were talking, and...
Was he in your car with you?
No. He was outside of my driver's side. So that's when Miss Brianna came, and she started hitting him upside his head, and I tried to get out of the spot that I was in, and next thing I know, my window's down, and she comes and she's attacking me, punching me in my face. She keyed up my car. When she first came up to my window, she keyed my car. Yeah, I can show you.
What? Okay, did you file a police report?
I didn't.
Why?
I just didn't. I took care of my bruises and my scar. I did call 911, but then I hung up. I just didn't. And
Okay. Do you have photographs of your injury?
Yes.
Nashera produces photos, then hands them to Kevin.
There you go.
He brings them to Judy, who reviews them.
So what you're telling me is that this was a scratch across your chest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a scratch that was caused by Miss Serrano.
Yes.
And that was in July.
Yes.
Ms. Serrano, I'd like to hear your version of what happened on the 7th of July.
Like I said before, there was just an argument that took place.
That was I want you to
physical.
start the argument from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. She's outside in her car.
Mm-hmm.
Michael is talking to her at the car.
Oh, yeah.
Did you drive over there or did you walk? How did you get
I
there?
parked my car like in front of the house because they were on the side street. So I walked.
So you walked there?
Exactly.
You parked
yes,
the
I
car.
walked.
Now, let me ask you a couple of questions, Ms. Serrano. Did Mr. Codia ever give you an indication that Miss Garrett was no longer going to be living there?
Not that I could recall, no.
Well, I want you to try to recall.
I was told after that whole day went, the day after that, the conversation was going to be for her to leave the house.
Okay. And what were you coming over for? What brought you over there at 8 o'clock at night?
For him.
What do you mean for him?
Well, he left something in my car. He left a charger or something. It was something he left in my car that I was returning back to him.
Did you tell him you were coming over?
Nope. I just popped up.
The answer is no.
No.
You were curious.
Yes, I was. Of course I was.
There you were.
I'm sorry.
See what's happening to him? This fly is getting vengeance on him.
Not getting on me.
What the hell's going on? Oh, you got a swapper too, wow.
I'm waiting for it to come over here.
Judy with a fly swatter.
Did you seek medical treatment?
I did not.
Mr. Cody, I'm going to wrap up this case because I really understand it. I believe I understand it. What I don't understand is why, and this doesn't require an answer, it's sort of a rhetorical question, why you would want to take someone who had been a lifelong friend and someone with whom you are having a child and put either one or both of them in a situation so they don't know each other really, so they don't know whether to like each other or whether not to like each other. I mean, I assume that at this point you would, at least Miss Serrano was planning a long-term relationship with you, and she's having a child, and I assume she thinks you're going to be there to be supportive of the child. Maybe. You have other children?
Yes, I do.
How many children do you have?
I have another son.
Okay, how old?
5 years old, 5.
And he lives with his mother?
Yes, he does.
So you see.
Oh, yes. There you go.
Judy raises her fly swatter.
This one's a pesky one. I'm usually good at it. I missed it before.
Whitney grins.
I don't know why you would put them in a situation where they would dislike each other all to satisfy your ego.
Wow.
Oh, that's exactly what you did. You put them in a position where two apparently nice ladies, both of whom care about you in different ways, you put them, well, do you care about him?
Yes.
You think she cares about him?
I've never, the entire time I was with
They
him,
just know each other for a long time.
It was way before me, so I guess if you would have put it like that.
And they also went to senior prom together.
Just a second.
Wow, like
I didn't ask you.
I'm
listen
sorry,
to me.
Your Honor.
I didn't ask you anything. This is not a shout out. What I'm telling you is it goes to his character. He knows her for a long time. They never had a romantic relationship. With you, he's had a romantic relationship. You did something that annoyed him. You went back to take care of your sick mother, which also attests to his bad character. And then what he does is he invites a woman to come into the house, lets you know about it, because he knows that it's going to irritate you. That's exactly what happened. He acknowledges that. That doesn't make him a good guy. So I want you to think about that. But I absolutely believe that you caused a scratch on her, which you can't do. Anyway, Mr. Cody, you owe her $750. And Ms. Serrano, you can't put your hands on anybody, no matter how angry you are at them. And I'm awarding her $1,000 for you putting your hands on her. Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I was very satisfied.
I mean, I know it would cause havoc, but
Different women every night.
I try to keep it in secret.
And that's why we stopped being friends before, but I definitely learned my lesson.
I feel like it's unfortunate. I feel like she manipulated the whole situation.
After his 17-year-old son hit Dean's car.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2076, Miller versus Pena.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judge Judy turns to Robert.
Mr. Pena, is that your son?
Yes, it is.
The one who was driving the car?
Yes.
Okay, good. You stand up next to your father. Mr. Miller, is your claim that the defendant's son hit your car that was parked in a parking lot?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was parked in the parking lot of a high school?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you work in that high school?
Yes.
As what?
I'm a teacher.
What do you teach?
I teach what's called on-site continuation. It's a continuation classroom for 10th through 12th grade students.
Do you go to that school?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. On what date did you park your car when you allege it was hit?
That was on March 8th, Your Honor.
You were in school that day.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you should know that in reviewing this case, Mr. Miller, because he was not there when his car was hit.
Correct.
Correct? And so he alleges that it was you who hit his car and then left the scene. Your father said it was not you who hit his car, and there's no proof that it was you who hit his car. That's what your father said. Before you answer my questions, I'm going to tell you that Mr. Miller has a video that he says was taken by school cameras that were zoned onto the parking lot that demonstrates that you actually did hit his car and leave. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So now we're going to go back to March 8th, and you're going to tell me what happened with Mr. Miller's car.
So I drive myself to school every day, or at the time I was driving myself to school because that was my only way of getting to school.
Did you have a driver's license?
At the time, no, I did not have a driver's
So you were driving a car without a driver's license?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what kind of a car were you driving?
It was a 1991 Camaro.
Where did you get the car from?
Me and my dad had gone off the street. It was a project car.
How old are you?
17.
Did you try to take a driving test?
Yes.
When?
Back when I had turned 17, actually, in February of last year.
And you didn't pass it?
No.
Did you take the written test?
No.
What did you take in February?
The practical test.
Just the practical test, the driving test?
Yes.
And you failed that?
Yes.
So despite the fact that you failed that, you drove the car, and your father knew that you were driving the car without a license? That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
Was there insurance on this car, Mr. Pena?
No, there wasn't.
So no insurance, no license. So far, not good parenting. You understand that, Mr. Pena?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so you drove yourself to school and?
There's a parking lot that all the students, teachers, anyone who goes to school, really, they can park
Yes,
at.
nobody suggests you were trespassing in a place you weren't supposed to be.
Yeah, so every morning I would park in...
Not everyone, look at me. That day, Mr. Miller's car.
Yes, Your Honor. That day, March 8th, I came to school as usual and I parked in my area, and then one of the on-school deputies that the school has, he pulled up right behind me as I parked, and he asked me for my information, he asked me for my name, my school ID.
I want to know what happened with Mr. Miller's car.
Oh, nothing happened with Mr. Miller's car.
So what you're telling me is that you did not hit Mr. Miller's car. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, Your Honor.
What car were you driving that day?
1991 Camaro.
What color is it?
Red.
How long have you been going to that school?
It's my 4th year going.
How many other people drive a 1991 Camaro? Red. Nobody.
Nobody.
And so I'm going to watch this video. Sarah, do we have the video?
I have it.
Sarah produces a tablet.
So,
She sets it before Judy.
wait, you'll see it.
Judy watches the screen.
Okay. You had a truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so there's no question you hit the truck. Do you want me to show you the video?
No, Your Honor.
Well, if you don't want to see the video, that's because you told me a lie.
Oh, yes, I'd like to see the video.
Absolutely. Going to watch very carefully, you pulling into a spot and the truck moved as you were pulling in. Have they shown you the video, Mr. Pena?
They showed me a different version of that video.
Well, I've just seen the version that I saw.
Kevin brings the tablet to Robert and Nathan.
Got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Saw the truck move, did you?
Yes, it did.
When you were pulling in next to it?
Yes, I was.
When you were pulling in next to it? So that didn't happen because there was an earthquake. That happened because you hit the truck.
Yes, Your Honor.
Fine. Now we understand each other, Mr. Pena?
Yes.
Great. That's a yes. Okay. Can I see pictures of your truck, please, and the estimate to repair it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Dean produces photos and documents, then hands them to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews a photo of a pickup truck with a scratched bumper.
Have you seen the photographs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Totally consistent, right? Mr. Miller, you're from California?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you regularly teach today?
Yes.
So you had to take a day off.
Yes, I have a substitute today, yes.
How many days off are you allowed?
10 per year. I've accumulated quite a few because I don't take many days off.
You get paid for those days?
I get compensated because I have sick days or personal necessity days.
The reason I'm asking you these questions, Mr. Miller, because it's no question that you are entitled to have your car fixed. But that's, to me, even though that's all you're requesting, I think the fact that Mr. Pena allowed his son to drive a car without insurance and without a license, not only without a license, but knowing that his son took a driving test the month before and failed it, which means that he was not a good driver. Not a good enough driver to get a driver's license. And I have a lot of people in my family that don't drive well, that I don't like to be in the car with. But they all have driver's licenses because they managed to pass a driving test. So I know that you are only requesting the $1,524, but I'm actually awarding you $2,500.
Thank you.
And that's for the aggravation of, instead of Mr. Pena saying to you, I'm sorry, my son hit your car, because either his son lied to him.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Either his son lied to him, or his son told him the truth, but he lied to me. And he's the grown-up. He set an example for his son that said it's okay to break the law. Not only for you, because you take the car to school. Take the car to school, even though you failed. Take the car to school. It has no insurance. If you hit somebody in that car and you seriously injure them, that car has no insurance. Car has no insurance. He has nothing to lose. Car has no insurance, but the person who he hit, person whose property he may have destroyed, they have no recourse. You understand, sir? That's a bad parental example. You want to say something to me or not?
Yes, I do.
Caption coming up.
I don't care that you didn't like it. That's not, as a parent, the lesson you should be teaching. And whether or not you like the way the sheriff spoke to him, that is totally irrelevant to me.
Later.
I paid as much as I could supporting him. I wasn't getting paid rent for his room.
What happened is you both sort of took advantage of this rent moratorium.
Not true.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Dean, Robert, and Nathan.
Dean Miller claims vehicle owner Robert Pena owes for damage after his 17-year-old son hit Dean's car.
Go ahead.
My thing I didn't like was how he got approached.
I don't care whether you like it or not.
That's what I do.
I don't care whether you like it or not. Did your son come home from school that day and say, I hit somebody's car?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Nowhere.
And just a second. And when you asked him whether he hit somebody's car, what did he tell you? Just be careful.
He said, I think. He felt intimidated
just a second.
by
I think.
the sheriff and him.
I don't care that you didn't like it. That's not, as a parent, that's not, as a parent, the lesson you should be teaching. First of all, you allowed your son to violate the law. You allowed it. And then, I mean, I would certainly know whether I caused that much damage. He knew that that car moved. So either he lied to you or you lied to me. And whether or not you liked the way the school official spoke to him or the sheriff spoke to him, that is totally irrelevant to me. That shouldn't be the takeaway from this. The takeaway from this is you're supposed to follow the rules. The rules are meant for everybody, and that includes you and your kid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. We're finished here.
This court is adjourned.
Police officer came behind me when I parked and accusing me that I'd hit someone.
The school deputy saw the video, knew the car, so he approached the student.
The person who I supposedly hit came out with a megaphone yelling at me.
There is no megaphone, so I don't know where that came from.
Telling me that I'd hit him. So I was kind of like freaking out. I didn't really know what to think.
If it happened to me, he could hit someone else. And
I didn't know I hit your car. Like, did I hit your car? Like, I didn't even know what to think. I could have sworn I did not.
This was fortunate that it was just a parked car in a parking lot.
It is time to get his license, yes, that's correct.
It's time to get the car fixed and just get some closure on this.
Sarah.
In our family, we would call that contact a love tap. And as someone who has had a few run-ins potentially with stationary objects, I will tell you.
Not potentially.
I will tell you, you know when you hit a stationary object, even if it's just a light little love tap. So I just thought it was outrageous that the defendants, father and son, they knew that there was a video and still took the position of, nope.
Well, his father's position was, I didn't like the way they spoke to my son, and therefore, I'm not responsible. They shouldn't have spoken to him. I mean, he's 17 years old, but he looks like a man. He's taller than his father, you know.
You have to take responsibility.
But you have to take responsibility and not drive a car, especially. You failed a driving test. The most basic thing. I mean, you know, we have
I will
people...
say, I did pass on the first try, so...
Yes, but we have people in our family who actually did not.
Okay, yes.
And they
will
didn't
not be
drive...
named.
And they didn't drive a car.
Yeah.
Until they could pass a driving
and
test.
their parents were the first ones to say, no shot until you pass that test.
Absolutely.
So parents need to be responsible as well.
Right.
Case 2104, Birkeland versus Lefkowitz. All party, please step forward.
Shannon Birkeland is suing her former roommate, Ian Lefkowitz, for unpaid rent and eviction costs.
Ms. Birkeland, how long had you lived in your residence?
Prior to the defendant moving in?
Yes.
2 years.
And how long did you live there with the defendant?
A total of 5 years.
You lived
the
in
defendant, I'm sorry, 3 years.
3 years.
This month would have been.
And for most of that 3-year period, what kind of work do you know that the defendant did?
Computer work and music producing.
How do you support yourself, sir?
I produce music. I don't do computer work.
Produce music for whom?
Various artists and brands and whatever.
How long have you been doing that?
Since I was 13 years old.
How old are you now?
32.
You have a corporation or an LLC?
Not currently standing, but I do have one that is out of commission right now that needs to be reestablished.
When was the last time you filed tax returns?
Last
April.
Last April, yeah.
And on your tax returns that you filed, how much did you indicate that you earned?
I receive royalties from a company called, and they take my taxes out automatically, so I'm not sure how much.
I'm asking you how much you reported your gross income was when you filed your tax returns in April.
They come automatically, is what I'm saying. I didn't file them. They're paid for and filed automatically by the company that distributes my royalties.
So is what you're saying you didn't file tax returns in April?
I assume that they're filed automatically through this company that pays me.
Mr. Lefkowitz, when was the last time you put a stamp on tax returns that you sent to the government?
I do not know.
Ever? You have to think?
No.
Ever?
Like I said, where I make most of my money, if not all my money, comes through a company called, which they take out the taxes automatically before paying me. So I've never filed through that. I just assumed that it was already taken care of in that way.
You assumed wrong.
Okay.
Okay. There came a time, Mr. Lefkowitz, you lived there for 3 years, but there came a time when you stopped paying rent.
Correct.
And what was your rent when you moved in with the plaintiff?
$1,200 a month.
You had your own room?
Yes.
Bathroom?
Yes.
You moved in what month and year?
2019 in October.
And as you said, most of your money comes from royalties, and I assume that's royalties on past work.
Yes.
And you've been existing on that for how long?
8 years or so.
So how much do you make from these royalties? You pay $1,200 a month rent, you have a car.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh, it's not an answer.
Yes.
You have a
how
car.
much do I make?
So you have a car, you have insurance.
Yes.
What kind of car do you have?
I have a Honda Clarity.
What year?
It's a lease. It's a 2021.
And how much do you pay a month for the lease?
$395.
Does that include insurance or does it not include insurance?
It does not include insurance.
So you pay an additional how much for insurance?
About $350.
So you spend $700 a month for your car.
Correct.
And let's get back to, you moved in October of 2019. Your rent was $1,200 a month. And you lived there until when?
Until about 2 months ago. So September 4th or 3rd is when I moved all my stuff out.
And when was the last month you paid rent?
That would have been in December of 2021.
So you lived there January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and part of September. So at least 8 months that you lived there and didn't pay rent.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wasn't there for August, pretty much the
Your
entire...
things were there.
Sure.
If your things are there, you're there.
Okay.
Because that's part of what she's suing for. Rent that you didn't pay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still living there?
No.
Why not?
I was evicted.
When?
The exact date is August 2nd. I do have my paperwork for notice to vacate and all that.
Just a second.
Sure.
On August 2nd of 20...
I'm sorry, that was the court date, and that's when the judgment was made, was August 2nd.
And when did you move out?
2 weeks later.
That's not true.
And you were evicted for non-payment of rent?
Yes, for 2 months. Yes.
Just a second. You were evicted for non-payment of rent?
Yes, for 2 months.
Well, show me that it was for 2 months. I just want to see that it was for 2 months and what 2 months those were.
That page right there.
Shannon hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
No, you didn't leave until, let's say, September 1st.
That sounds more like it.
You didn't leave until September 1st.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I did mistakenly speak. I do remember that the judge...
Don't tell me what the judge said. I'm asking you when you left.
Gave me 6 weeks from that date of August 8th.
What
so I left September 8th.
And you left at about the same time.
I left prior, but I called my neighbor at...
Just a second.
Yeah.
You left at about the same time.
A few days before.
Fine, that's at about the same time.
She actually left after that. I talked to a neighbor that said around the 14th that she was still there.
You can't tell me what the neighbor said, sir. That's why I
Correct.
stopped you before.
Caption, coming up.
Well, I know there's a moratorium for COVID, and the government shut my business down.
That's what he says.
I knew that I had protection.
He's saying the exact same thing you are in his answer. You two are soulmates.
Hey, no, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Ian grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Shannon and Ian.
Shannon Berkland claims her former roommate, Ian Lefkowitz, is responsible for unpaid rent.
Okay, this eviction notice is dated May 26, and it says that you didn't pay April or May.
Correct.
But both of you lived there in June. Did you pay June?
Yes.
Show me proof. Show me proof that you paid June and July. Show me proof you didn't pay April and May. Show me proof that you paid.
My proof?
Your proof.
Is in the fact that I don't owe any rent except for when the moratorium lapsed and I...
No.
I don't have a receipt. I don't have a receipt for payment.
Then just say I didn't pay rent for June and July.
I did not pay rent for June and
Well,
July.
just answer that question. So you didn't pay rent for
Yes.
June and July.
Yeah.
Here we go. And you didn't pay for April, May, June, and July. I know you didn't pay for August. There's no question you didn't pay for August, and you were actually there in August, so you didn't pay for 5 months.
I guess, yes.
Okay, yes. And the reason that you didn't pay rent for those 5 months was what?
I had spent all my savings on paying rent, and I had none left. I paid as much as I could, supporting him.
Just a second.
The best I could, and I...
What happened is you both sort of took advantage of this rent moratorium.
Not true.
Well, if you didn't pay rent for April, May, June, July, and August, what were you doing?
Waiting for him to pay his rent because I couldn't afford to pay for my station.
Just a second.
Yeah.
You didn't pay any rent. You didn't say to the landlord, I have a roommate. I can't take care of him. I'm giving you my half of the rent.
Well, I know there's a moratorium for COVID, and the government shut my business down.
That's what he says.
I knew that I had protection.
That's what he says. He's saying the exact same thing you are in his answer.
Did he go to court and do the paperwork and do the filings and
Who cares?
And I do.
Who cares? I don't. Each of you seems to be living. You operate your hair business out of your house.
In addition to another business, yes.
Whatever. You operate your hair business out of the house. He operates, I don't know what he does, but I know he's 32 years old, supports himself, spends $700 a month on a car, spent for a long time $1,200 a month rent, and can't remember the last year or the last decade that he filed tax returns. So whatever it is, this is your problem, Miss Birkeland, and this is what I actually didn't understand when I read your complaint, because what you're looking for is 8 months' rent from him.
Correct.
You didn't pay the rent.
I shouldn't be evicted. I asked him to leave every month that he didn't pay me.
Should have read a cutter.
I had a business as a hairdresser, and I went out to rent a station. And I was out for 4 months to pay for a station.
It doesn't matter.
Because I wanted to go back to be my nice space that I had created for myself and I've worked my butt off for, and my clients liked. I wasn't getting paid rent for his room. I wanted to move my studio into his room and make it my hair salon. So I can have 2 businesses now out of my home. I have 0 income, 0 businesses. My life has not been easy, and this home was the one thing that I've worked my ass off for. It's the only thing in life that I loved.
Miss Birkeland, did you say to your landlord,
yes,
I have a roommate.
Yes.
He's not paying me his half of the rent, but I want to show you in good faith, I am going to give you my portion of the rent. You didn't do that.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Well, show me. Just a second. Show me. All I know is they say this is your evidence for the full amount of the rent for April and May. And I know you didn't pay June, July, August, and September. I know you didn't pay that, so I'm asking you, just show me some proof, Miss Birkeland, that you said to your landlord, who is also in business of renting space for which they are requesting rent paid in a timely fashion, and then they've got 2 people who decide, well, we have a rent moratorium. I'm not in any worse position now than before, so I'm just not going to pay rent.
Your Honor, I was...
Just show me that you made partial payment to the landlord for April, May, June, July, and August.
I don't have that because I was protected under the law.
Okay, good. And so is he.
Your Honor,
Case is dismissed. We're finished.
One question
Goodbye. Goodbye. Listen,
I can prove
you
to
two
you
are so.
that
You're
I
just
attempted to pay full rent.
You
he
two.
Was gone and I was able to bring my business into the house.
You two are soulmates. You both relied.
No, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Out.
This court is adjourned.
Soulmates. You both took advantage of a law, and you both lost. Goodbye.
I have nowhere to operate both of my businesses. I created one during COVID.
We both exercised our rights under California tenant laws.
Which I would have had I had a room that he wouldn't leave.
You know, that's just what it is.
Every month I pleaded with him.
That never happened.
I cried, I fought.
She never asked me to leave crying, approached me, or nothing.
If it can be helped, don't have a roommate.
Sarah and Judy.
I'm glad you didn't give her any money. But if you were going to award any money in this case, it should go to the landlord, because the plaintiff did the exact same thing using the exact same legal loophole that was created during COVID for people who really were struggling and not being able to afford their rent. And now she sues him for doing the exact same thing that she did. So the landlord is really the only one out here.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And if you could write a check to the landlord, that would be fine, but the landlord isn't a party. I have a feeling that there are a lot of very small landlords, you know, not people that own giant buildings, but people who have, you know, their real estate businesses are small. They may have
former tenants, Carl and Renee Antonucci, for property damage, unpaid rent, and a bathtub.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2154, Hellerman Tway versus Antonucci.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Renee.
Miss Antonucci, the plaintiff, Miss Hellerman, gave you a job.
Yes.
When?
It was probably February of 2021.
Where had you worked prior to that?
I just worked for myself.
Worked for yourself doing the
And
same?
cleaning.
Cleaning.
Yes, and I worked for Rite Aid as assistant manager.
And your husband was in prison?
For a year last year.
He was in prison on a 2 to 10 year sentence, correct?
A rider. It's called the rider program, and it's about a 1-year program.
You were convicted in the state of Idaho for what, sir, and when?
It was 2012. Was a third DUI.
Mm-hmm. And at that time, you were sentenced to 2 to 10 years.
Oh, correct. Yes. My apologies.
I just read it online, sir. Yeah. It's not a secret. It's out there. So you were sentenced from 2 to 12 with a minimum of 2 years. And the rest of the sentence, you were supposed to be on probation.
Correct.
You violated the probation and you were sent back to prison.
Correct.
And that decision, violating your probation, you appealed.
Correct.
And the appellate court, the highest court in the state of Idaho, affirmed the lower court decision violating your parole.
Probation, yes, correct.
Your probation. And that was just 6 months ago.
No, it was...
February of 2022 is when the opinion was published. Does that sound right?
Yes, the response to that, yes, correct.
Yes. So what was your release date from jail?
It was January 11th.
Just a second, don't answer for him.
January 11th, yeah.
January 11th of 2022.
Correct.
Now, you had been working for the plaintiff while he was incarcerated, Miss Antonucci, without incident. That be a fair statement? You were happy with them?
I wasn't getting paid enough, but yes.
Nobody's ever getting paid enough. Even I don't get paid enough.
Right.
Everybody thinks they're worth more than they're getting.
Right.
You didn't quit. You didn't complain. Now, at some point, when your husband got out of jail, there was a question about where you were going to live. Were you living in the property in question before he got out of jail?
No.
No. So he was getting out of jail. Where were you living while he was in jail?
I was in Donnelly, Idaho, in our motorhome.
Is there a reason that when he got out of jail, he couldn't go to the motorhome with you?
He did.
And then you tell me how you ended up in their property.
Shauna and Joel took us to dinner, and...
They took you to dinner for what reason?
I don't know, just to take us to dinner.
Well, that was nice.
Yes, it was nice.
Very nice. So far you're working for people that you seem to like. Your husband is incarcerated. He gets out of jail. I assume you told him he was getting out of jail, that that's why he was around now. I assume you told him that he had been in prison.
Yes.
Okay. And they didn't hold that against him. They invited you out for dinner.
Yes.
Tell me how the conversation came up about a new place to live.
We were just talking about moving to Adams County.
Why?
It's just a better situation.
Oh, just a second. Was he required to be in a particular county for his probation?
No.
Now, was he required to live in that county?
No, he's not, unless he puts in a request to move, and that was approved.
Well, is there any reason why you put in a request to move after he was released from prison?
Yes, because they offered to talk to Monica about a house that was coming up for rent in Adams County.
Just a second. Who knew about a house? Did you know about a house that was coming up for rent?
No.
Yeah, I'm not getting a sense of forthcoming answers from you. You have somebody who cleans for you, whose husband has been incarcerated, who hasn't been living in any of your property. Now he's coming out of jail, and I want you to tell me how the discussion of a place to live came up. You're out to dinner.
Yes, we invited him out to dinner. We were excited to meet him. They had mentioned they had put in for a change of probation officers.
So he put in a request for a new probation officer.
Yes.
But for the fact that you told them, they would have no way of knowing that you had to move from one place to another. You had to have told them. You put in a request to move.
We were just looking for a place to live.
You approached them and said, do you have a place for us?
No, I did not say
that. Well, then, how did it come about?
Caption: Coming up.
There was sort of acrimony at the end of your moving out, but I'm going to take one thing at a time. They say that when you moved out, you took a claw bathtub. Did you take the bathtub? The answer is either yes or no.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Shauna, Monica, Carl, and Renee.
Shauna Hillerman and Monica Tway are accusing their former tenants, Carl and Renee Antonucci, of not paying rent and stealing a tub.
We were friends, and they invited
Who was
us out
friend?
to dinner.
Just a
Shauna
sec.
and I were friends.
That's
yes.
You. So
and
this is somebody who's a friend
yes,
of yours.
And I cleaned her house very randomly, but I was subcontractor. I was not an employee. In fact, I called myself an employee of hers once, and she said, "You're not an employee. You're my friend. You're a subcontractor." So we were at dinner, and we were saying that we were wanting to look for a place to live, and Joel said, "Oh, well, there's a place in Adams County that Monica just bought. I'll talk to her about you guys moving in there." That's how we came to know about that place.
Great.
And we were fine with living in our motorhome, but it would be nice to have more room, so we were excited about that. That's how we found out about it.
You found out about it because you needed a place to live, that you were moving.
We didn't, well...
That's according to your husband.
As a general contractor, trying to find housing, one of my ideas was, well, let's rent a house, let's rent a place. I need space because I have trailers, I have a flatbed, I have a cargo trailer, I have the 2 vehicles and the Harley. I need a garage, I need a shop. I need to, expand. That's the sole reason for finding a different place. And also trying to save money to buy a home and recover and do all these things, build my business, so forth.
Ultimately, you moved out. There was sort of acrimony at the end of your moving out, but I'm going to take one thing at a time. They say that when you moved out, you took a claw bathtub. I know what those are. They're sort of a decorative old piece. I've had them, they sometimes use them now when they renovate houses and put modern stuff around this claw bathtub. Did you take the bathtub? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course. You say you took it in the answer. Did you have permission to take it?
Yes.
Yes.
Who gave you permission?
Monica.
Monica, did you give them permission to take it?
Absolutely not. I did not give them permission to take it.
So now I want one of you to tell me when the conversation took place, where it took place, and who was present. One of you is going to talk to me.
When we were about to move in and doing the walk through the residence.
No, just not moving out. You were going to move in, and you moved into the residence in February of 2021? What month?
No, we moved in April.
April of 2022. And you moved out when?
August 21st of 2022, of course.
Okay, so what you're saying, Antonucci, is that in April, now you're going to tell me a story, in April you were walking through the premises with the owner.
I was going to do some work on the place too before we moved in, and when we moved in as some of the trade, or I would build them at a discounted rate, and there was supposed to be a fireplace, a wood stove. Well, really the main reason why I moved into this place is because I had a wood stove. The electricity is so hot.
Listen to me.
Going through the house.
I don't care. Bathtub. I don't care about a fireplace. I care about a bathtub.
Okay. Discussion comes out about the bathtub. She says she's not going to plumb it in. She says if you guys want the tub, you can keep it. You can plumb it in if you want, but I'm not going to plumb it in and deal with it.
Okay. So she said to you she had this bathtub there that she didn't want to plumb in. I assume that means connect.
Correct. Because the
connect to water. Yeah. She didn't want to plumb it in. You can either use it if you want to plumb it in or not. That's what she said to you.
No.
No! Only him.
Have.
No, I didn't hear the word have. You want to read back what he said, please?
He says, discussion comes up about the bathtub. She says, I'm not going to plumb this thing in. She says, if you guys want the tub, you can keep it. You can plumb it in if you want. But, I'm not going to plumb it in and deal with it.
You want to use it, you can use it.
Keep it. Keep it.
If you keep it, not keep it and take it away with you. You're moving in to her house. She said, this bathtub isn't connected to water. You can, if you want to, plumb it in, because according to you, she knew that you were in the construction business, and keep it, or not. But I'm not plumbing it in. And you viewed that 4 months later as saying, I can take the bathtub?
Yeah, there was more discussion about it.
No, let me hear the more discussion about it.
She didn't want the tub.
Just a second. That's a conclusion in your mind, that she didn't want the tub. Based upon what you just said to me, if you're moving into a house, you're moving into a place, that statement that she made could not be construed, in my mind, as you can keep. It now belongs to you, the bathtub. You can either plumb it in or not. If you want to keep it, plumb it in. If you don't want to keep it, don't plumb it in. Okay, where's the bathtub?
And storage.
They get it back. 5 days.
She said she was going to haul.
5 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
5. I'll give you an order. Is that all you have to contribute to this case?
Some other witnessing, but that's...
Then, as a witness, you can sit down. You're getting your bathtub back in 5 days.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Good. Now, let's talk about the next thing, which is damages to the duplex. So they moved in April. They paid rent in April?
Yes, they did.
They pay rent in May?
Yes, they did pay for May.
And June?
No, they have not completed their payment for June.
How much was their rent?
$1,200 a month.
How much did they pay in June?
They still have $80 owing, $30 in rent and a $50 late fee.
Okay, I'm not interested. About July?
Nothing.
Was there any rent in July?
No payments, no.
Did you live in the premises in July?
Yes.
You were evicted on 8/21. Up until the 21st of August, were you living in the premises?
Yes.
Did you pay rent in August?
No.
Okay. Now you want to tell me why you stopped paying rent in July?
Yes, on July 10th, there was a flood in the house.
July 10th, there was a flood in the house. From where?
We believe it was a spigot. No one ever told us
No.
where it came from.
Well, you're living there. They're not living there, right? You're living
Upstairs
there.
or-
I'm only going to listen to one person. I'm not talking over each other. Is that you or your wife?
Me.
Fine. You're living there April, May, June. July, there's a leak. I'm living in a house. I know where the leak came. The leak comes from a refrigerator. It comes from a window. It comes from a ceiling. It comes from a something. Where did the leak come from?
I wasn't home for that. We came home to the flood. I came home to the flood at like 8:40.
Was it coming from the apartment above you?
No, it was
Where
not.
was it coming from?
Caption, coming up.
I called Monica and I said, oh my God, there's water everywhere in the house. What's going on? She didn't know what was going on. So we were trying to figure out where to turn the water off at.
I'm still trying to figure out, if you lived there in July, why weren't you paying rent?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Shauna, Monica, Carl, and Renee.
Shauna Hellerman and Monica Tway claim their former tenants, Carl and Renee Antonucci, owe for unpaid rent and a bathtub. Carl and Renee are countersuing for property damage and loss of income.
Okay, was it coming from the apartment above you?
No, it was not.
Where was it coming from?
Apparently it was a broken plumbing pipe from the front spigot leaked underneath the house and came up through the subfloor.
So there was a broken internal pipe, as far as you know. Now, your husband's in the construction business, he says. So when the flood happened, did you try to find the source of the flood?
I wasn't home, Your Honor.
Where were you?
I was at work.
Well, eventually, did you come home?
Yeah, I came home that evening real quick.
Well, that evening, did you try to find where the leak came from?
I had to get back to work. She was dealing with the cleanup. The water was turned off, and they were sending a plumber or something.
Okay. So
Monica said she would take care of it.
So they turned off the water, which is perfectly reasonable, because the water is coming from an internal pipe that burst, right? And then what happened? I'm still trying to figure out why
They did not turn off the water until after I got home. I walked in. So I called Monica and I said, oh my God, there's water everywhere in the house. What's going on? She didn't know what was going on. So we were trying to figure out where to turn the water off at.
Okay,
so that's when the water got turned off.
100% understand you. Got it. Came home, you found water, trying to find where it comes from. Finally, turned off the water. I'm still trying to figure out, if you lived there in July, why weren't you paying rent?
We were behind on rent because I was working and he was trying to get his job situated down in Boise or wherever he could get contracts with his injuries.
So what you're telling me, that you didn't pay rent in July because you didn't have the money?
No, we did not have the money.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. So other than the fact that you didn't have money There was no reason why you didn't pay rent.
We were making payments whenever we could.
You paid
and
no
that
payment
was fine
in July.
For Shauna.
You made
Yes,
no
we did.
payment in July. No, in June you did.
In June we did. In July
June
we
you
did
did not. Listen.
And as long as I was still working for them, that was fine when we were late or making payments to
Just
them.
a second. You made no payments in July and you made no payments in August. You had made payments in
I wasn't going to
April,
pay for
May,
August
and
when
June.
we had a flood.
I'm just telling you.
Yes.
I'm asking you a question. Is the reason you didn't pay your rent because you didn't have any money?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Then you owe them the rent, $2,400. You lived there. You
Well, wait
ate
a
the steak.
wait a minute,
Yeah,
Your Honor.
yeah, I'm not speaking to you. Listen, you're a tag-along on this whole thing. You understand that? I think these people were very nice to you.
I'm not
probably, I probably wouldn't have been as nice.
The house flooded. That's why I couldn't pay the rent.
I have all the
Just a-
pictures
just
right
a second.
It
here.
shut my business down. It shut my business down. That
It
house
ruined
flooded.
his briefcase.
My plans were ruined, my computers. There was 2 inches of water at 1,800 square feet of flood.
Yeah.
Monica says she's going to come over. Don't worry.
Mr.
Monica-
Antonucci, you can't talk over me, sir.
Apologies, but
This is, you can't talk over me. I'm older than you are, and I've lived in many apartments, and believe me, I have been the cause of a flood, and I have been the recipient of floods from people around me. Usually, it's an accident. It usually is not an on purpose. Very few people turn on their bathtub and say, I'm going to let this bathtub overflow into my bottom neighbor's house. It's usually as a result of a broken pipe, which nobody can see, or an air conditioner plugs up and the pan overflows and the, whatever they call it, the little water bug signal doesn't go blank, blank, so you don't even know that it's going off, and there's a flood. That's not somebody's fault. So now you have a flood that is nobody's fault, not yours, because you're the tenants. So clearly it wasn't your fault. Not something that they anticipated, not something that they were derelict in taking care of. So now, what did they do once the initial mess was cleaned up? How did they fix it? Did they fix the pipe?
We don't know. They never told us.
Refuse
I
to
mean,
give
they
any
said that a
information.
plumber came to the house. He left a hole in the ceiling, which I have a picture of.
Just a second. You lived there the whole month of July and into August. Did you have water? Just answer my question. You lived there the whole month of July after this happened and the majority of August. Did it flood again?
No, because
Just not a because. It didn't flood again. And what did the plaintiff do to remediate that? Did they put in fans and blowers?
They put in one fan, and then she finally brought 5 more over. So I had 6 fans in an 1,800 square foot house and 1 window that opened. We lived in the basement.
So they put in fans. You said they had put in one, and then
She
they
bought
brought
them,
up.
and I plugged them in and brought them and put them on and put them in the bedrooms, in the hallway, in the kitchen, living
Listen,
room.
I have a feeling that you're a victim in more ways than one. That's what you're supposed to do. You living there. They sent them over, you plugged them into the wall. That's what you're telling me?
And there's also a mold problem there.
$2,400. You owe them 2 months' rent and the bathtub. Let's go for next. What damages to the duplex, Ms. Hellerman?
We had some drywall damages, a lot of garbage debris, large dump run.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. $2,400 and the bathtub. Now I'm going to get to your counterclaim. Money owed for loss of income, damage to a motorcycle, wrongful eviction. Well, you didn't pay your rent, so the wrongful eviction is out. Defamation. What's the defamation?
So Monica sent me a text when I quit working for her, and it said, thanks for dropping off the keys. I said, you're welcome. She goes, really? Thank you for giving me 1 day notice. No good deed, ... Goes unpunished. And 3 days later, we get an eviction notice on her door.
I want to know what the defamation is. What's the defamation? Nothing. Cross out defamation. Damage to my motorcycle.
Yeah, they laid gravel down in the driveway without notification, and you can't ride a 900-pound Harley through gravel. So his bike went down.
$2,400, judgment for the plaintiff, counterclaims dismissed. We're done here, and she's absolutely right. No good deed goes unpunished.
This court is adjourned.
Shauna.
She definitely got to the bottom of their character.
that house was a death trap.
We received a text with pictures of small puddles throughout the home on a concrete slab.
She didn't want to plumb the tub in. She said we could have it. If we want to use it, we could. If not, she's going to get rid of it. She's going to throw it away, take it to the dump.
I didn't ever tell them they could have the tub. I told them I was not going to install it at that time and that I had already arranged to have the tub removed. I was going to store it.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, I think what bothers me more than anything else about cases like that is that those were 2 nice people. The plaintiffs were 2 nice people.
Sure.
And they actually took a chance. They had an employee who was there free.
Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In this video we'll talk about how to create a business logo using Canva. It's a very easy process and everyone, even a beginner editor, even a person who don't even know a bit of editing can do it. It's a very easy process. You have to choose a simple template from a website called Canva. The only things you need is a mobile and internet connection and browser. Okay, and we will choose a template, and after choosing the template we will customize it according to our business. So let's start the video.
Okay, now you have to first of all install Canva app from Play Store or App Store, or you can use the browser or to browser and search on the browser Canva. You will see a website canva.com. You can use it. Okay, so here's the home page of Canva. You have to first of all search on the search bar business logo. As you know, business logos are very important for our business. If we have a attractive business logo, everyone will look into it. Look into it that we should once visit this business. So in this way, your business will grow. So we have a lot of templates here. You can choose the template of your own choice, but in this case, I will select a template that will fit on in all cases. Okay, so you can see here some are pro variant templates and some are free of cost, so you can use of your own choice, but I don't have any paid variant subscription, so I will use free templates here. So in this case, someone has sent me to create a business logo of HR shopping mall. So we will look into this template. It's a very good template. Okay, you can see the name of HR here. We can design and add text to it, can add photos from your gallery, but I think it's very decent, so I will not add any additional editing. Okay, we will simply add here shopping store, and on the lower side we will write where smartness meets affordability. Okay, now our template is ready. You can download it by tapping on the download icon, and it's downloaded. So thanks for watching.